Alright everyone, it's time for Vermont Issues episode 55. Nordic Farms files for bankruptcy, but it's really a symptom of a larger problem within the state of Vermont. It's also a problem within the rest of New England. By the way, I was going to do another video last night, but I actually cut my fingers open. And this one's right on the knuckle, so if I bend the finger it starts bleeding, or at least it was last night. I got blood on my keyboard, which is actually pretty funny because it glows red, like you can do that with Alienware. But enough about that. This particular dairy is just one of many that has gone out of business within the state. There was a thing years and years ago. The state proclaimed that the dairy farmers were like fixing prices and inflating them, and then they told them to cut it out, and they sued, and that caused problems. And now the prices are so low, like they've told them you can only charge so much for milk within the state. Well, that's become a problem because now these dairy farms can't actually operate. Now, I would rather pay $1 a gallon more for the milk. I would rather do that and see those farms continue to exist so that there are people who are self-employed, they're farmers, they can potentially, they have, you know, a few workers or something like that. The tourists come to see the dairy cows and everything else under the sun. It benefits the whole state's economy. It would almost be better in the sense of Vermont to throw subsidies to it after the fact. And I don't mean like, oh yeah, we'll give 10 cents per gallon or something like that. Just let them continue to operate. Another problem we've got in this country, this goes to the Midwest too with corn, because the government does this. We've got all these weird farming mandates and price fixing and everything else. How on earth can we possibly be a capitalistic nation when the government isn't able to come in and say, well, this food will cost this much at maximum. That food will cost this much at minimum. We're going to tell this farmer to plow up this part of his field and not use it, let it go fallow because we want the price to be a little bit higher or something. How the fuck is that capitalism? It doesn't make any sense. It's not a free market. That's your real problem. The real problem is you have intervention without a heart in many of these cases. As far as Vermont goes, we've already lost enough of the family farms and the family dairies that we've had in this state. And it's about time that the state consider other alternatives, because what we're doing now doesn't work, to keep the rest from going under. You know, almost to the point where they can't really bail him out. I mean, that for Vermont, that would be equivalent to the United States bailing out Wall Street or something like that. So we can't really do that. So this dude's been screwed. He's got 2.1 million in total debt. So he's filing for bankruptcy. 2.1 million on what is essentially a small dairy, by national standards, I mean. This was apparently the first dairy to use electronic milking machines as well in all of Vermont. It's based in Charlotte. I feel sorry for the dude. I really do. Because a person who is willing to work hard, who's willing to produce something, should be able to make ends meet in this country. It's unacceptable that we have an economy in which somebody who is not lazy, who's not fucked up in some way, they haven't done anything wrong, they're trying to live their life the way they want to live. It is sad that we live in a country and in a state where it's impossible for some people to actually do that. It's very, very sad, and it shouldn't be happening. We can go down the more welfare-friendly route. I oppose this, but you can. That temporarily solves the problem anyway. Or you can go down the free market route, which is to say, well, we're going to stop fiddling around with these prices. Ultimately, the farmers can say, our milk is worth whatever the fuck we want it to be worth. The state shouldn't have any say over it. And if people find the prices to be a little bit too high, they just won't buy our milk, they'll buy something else. And then out-of-state competition will come in and cater to people who want to pay less for it. People who are willing to and able to pay more will pay more for the in-state milk. I know I would. I think it's going to be fresher. It's probably going to taste better. Why wouldn't I want to buy it? I support local farms. There's a little cattle area not far outside of this neighborhood. It's literally right off of this very road. There's a farm there. They've got some cows, although I believe those are beef cattle, actually. They do haying, and then I think he has his, the dude who runs it has his little garden and stuff. How much longer before the state comes in and says, oh, your hay costed too much, so we're fining you $500,000 or something like that. It's like you'd almost be better off creating a miniaturized bartering economy or something, wherein the farmer just exempts himself from the state by saying, well, I'm no longer a farm, I'm just a gardener who has a lot of cows or something, and I'm selling this stuff to my friends. But oh wait, the government's made sure you can't do that too. You see, you need all sorts of licenses to sell anything. Oh, therein lies your problem. Absence of a free market. Somebody gets sick, let him sue. Let him use the court system. Somebody has a problem with the price, let him buy some other product. That's the way it should work. It's capitalism. It's wonderful. It built the Western world, in part. But you won't find many people adoring the free market model anymore because they're convinced, oh, if the government got out of farming, if the government got out of this and that and the other thing, oh, somehow we would stop existing. Like people weren't doing that for 100 years in our early days as a country. No, they either give the farmers help because the state's fucking them, or don't give anybody any help, take a hands-off approach and let the market solve the problem. Wouldn't that be far preferable? Then this poor dude, we wouldn't be going bankrupt. What's he going to do with the cows? No, I'm bankrupt. I can't, I don't have any money. I can't do butt-fuck anything. I've been spent under the earth. What happens to the cows? You know, auction them off to settle the debt, probably. Say, well, I guess I can't be a farmer anymore. You know, not that anybody else can either, unless they happen to be have a multi-billion-dollar corporation that pumps everything full of antibiotics and steroids. Then they do fine. Why do you think so much of our beef comes from foreign shores? We're still a major beef-producing nation. Oddly enough, we sell to China now. But then we're buying like Brazilian beef for McDonald's so-called hamburgers and stuff like that. It doesn't make any sense to me. The world economy is all sorts of fucked up. Part of it's trade deals, part of it's interventionism and socialism. None of it's the fault of capitalism. Name a capitalist nation that exists in the world today. I'll wait. I'll wait for 1,000 years for one to come along to fulfill the dictionary definition. I don't think that you're going to be able to prevail upon me and convince me that there is one. You'll then point to some non-state group. You'll point to Somalia, where there's basically no state whatsoever and is in a form of anarchy. Yeah, that's a real free market economy, including you can sell people. That's not quite the way that it works. Libertarianism.org made a big fuss about it. They posted a tweet there, and they're like, oh, Islam is like the most free market, peace-loving religion and stuff. People are like, what are you talking about? You're talking about theocracy, basically. Doesn't make a whole lot of sense. That's about all. Peace out.